We're inside one of the many civilian defence bases that have been set up in the city. There are hundreds of troops on this site. I say troops, but 1 week ago they were ordinary citizens with ordinary lives. And I think there's a real sense here that people know that this battle is closing in after one of the bloodiest 24 hours for civilians and soldiers since this conflict began. Russia escalating its attacks, striking civilian targets in Ukraine's second-largest city, Kharkiv, an administrative building targeted with a massive strike. Multiple social media videos from the scene showing the attack by Kharkiv's Freedom Square. The mayor of the city saying Russians have switched tactics to aerial bombardment after their ground offensive failed. But Ukraine's defense forces striking back. The Ukrainian military posting this video to Twitter, which they say shows their drones hitting Russian vehicles trying to advance on Kyiv. And inside the city, thousands looking to flee before the fighting reaches their homes, but others ready to pick up arms and defend the capital. These latest satellite photos showing a Russian convoy stretching up to 40 miles long, advancing on Kyiv.
They continue to want to move on Kyiv, to capture Kyiv, to take Kyiv.
And as the battle rages, Ukrainian and Russian delegations meeting for 6 hours on the Belarusian border, unsuccessfully attempting to reach a ceasefire deal, but at least agreeing to meet again in the coming days. The Ukrainian President Zelensky accusing the Russians of negotiating in bad faith, saying fair negotiations can take place when one side doesn't hit the other with rocket missiles during the negotiations.
Announcements on new financial restrictions or penalties come almost daily. One by one, countries and institutions around the world are cutting Russia off. The big question, can any of this stop Vladimir Putin?
For Russia, every day of war is a step further into isolation, ever-tightening sanctions changing the lives of ordinary people. With the ruble sinking against the dollar, foreign reserves frozen, and a ban on foreign dealings with Russian businesses, France's finance minister this morning saying the West intends to collapse Russia's economy. This woman tells me the ATM didn't work for her, but she was able to line up and get cash from the teller.
Who do you think is to blame for this? Do you think it's Vladimir Putin, or do you think it's us, the West?
I support Putin, she says. It's our country. How can I feel otherwise? Protests continue. Now nearly 7,500 people arrested in more than 100 towns and cities across the country. Putin has his support, of course, but this war could turn back 30 years of progress, and not many want that. The Russian Tourist Board says 150,000 Russians are now stranded abroad. Their flights cancelled, their bank cards not accepted.
What we're dealing with here is a government that's lying to its people, the people starting to figure out that they have been lied to, but because of the repression in Russia, they don't have very many outlets to express their discontent or to do anything about it.
On camera Monday, Putin responding to the newly imposed sanctions on Russia, referring to the West as an empire of lies. And this morning, we're also taking a closer look at Putin's state of mind. Photos of him sitting far apart from his other world leaders and even his own top advisors. Few reports that he's remained isolated in recent years and hunkered down during COVID.